All right. Well, let's see who we get in tonight. Don't know how long I'm going to go. It probably won't be long. It might be an hour, maybe so. And get to chatting. Oh, having a fantastic stream. That tech talk always thrills me. I wish I was more schooled on that part of it, to be honest. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Late Night Hangout. Not sure how long I'm going to go. Like I said, I might probably go an hour, maybe two at the most. Really depends. I'm going to have a later night tomorrow night when Paul and Aaron's Aquarium, so RCW, Reefer Community Worldwide, and Aaron's Aquarium do their live stream. But feel free to ask a question. Feel free just to chat. Reefer-related questions always welcome. I'd show my tank, but my tanks are out for the night, so. Did get some new coral today, so I'm a little. I was bad. I spent more money. And being that it's the midnight hour, it may not get many of anybody. So, either way. Ooh, long day. Good day, but a long day. Hello, if you're just coming in, don't forget that you can ask a question. You can talk about almost anything reef related. It's kind of a come what may chat. Hello, guys. I'm here. I was going to go to sleep. Oh, now come on, Tim. Don't stay up on my account now. I'm just fixing up the links here anyway. Copy link address. If you feel like hopping in, hop in. I'm just going to post it for now. All right. Yeah, here nice. So I love those talks. if I've ever, it's really funny. I'm actually pretty versed on a lot of things, but one thing I'm not is a lot of that tech stuff. So I do like O streams for that a lot. Because all of a sudden you're like, really, you can do that with that, can you? Really? It still doesn't, aside the fact that I can't afford an Apex. Someday I will. That's like me saying someday I'll be a real boy. No. I'm more of a livestock excitement. I got new corals today, which I'm thrilled about, which I'll be showing off tomorrow. I'm going to try to actually make a vid because I realize I've made a vid in like a week. So I definitely got to get back on that and get that going. So, in fact, I don't think I've made a vid since the in a world vid. So definitely got to make one. You guys were both in O stream, I think, were you? Dre, Tim? Oh, right. I got to remember there's a 30-second delay. Must remember that. Now, Tim, I know you're up on the Apex stuff a little bit. You have one, as I recall. What about you, Dre? You got an Apex? No. They're kind of cost prohibitive, eh? Tim, is the link not working? My wife screaming in the middle of the night. You gotta love that. No, it is cost prohibitive. $1,000, in basic terms, is an awful lot to pay for something when you consider the cost of the rest of the setup. It's hard to it's easy to justify, hard to pay for. I'd rather spend $1,000 on livestock, or on other basic necessities that I would actually require. I love the Apex. I love the idea of it. And that's my wife yelling at my kid, and that's why you hear the clattering in the background. If you do, is him doing the dishwasher he was asked to do 5 hours ago. Hey, Daniel, welcome to the stream, and welcome to anyone else who's here. Feel free to ask a question. If you're not afraid to get on the mic, you can always do that as well. Yeah. So, did you catch the stream earlier today, Tim? I don't know if you did. I know I didn't see Dre. Keeps coming up off air. Do I have you on my list? Just a sec here. I do not. If you want to hop in, just shoot me your email right quick. Oh, no. Hold on. I'll try one more thing here. Let's try this one because sometimes this one works. Give that one a shot. And if that doesn't work and you want to get in, just shoot me your email. I'll pull it off right quick and I'll shoot you a direct. Yeah, it's funny. I'm so. It's like a dichotomy for me with Apex. It really is. I understand what it is, what it does, and the benefit. Do the costs outweigh that, right? So I am the Apex. I joked earlier. I do the testing. I do the controls. And I have minimal control on my tank. Automated control. And I don't know if I prefer it that way. I think some of the stuff the Apex does, I wish I had, because it would be nicer to have that. But I have an ATO. I have timers that run my lights. You can't really ramp up and down Mars Aquas correctly. It actually bothers them. So, all in all, my tank's as automated as I need it to be, right? Yeah, no, hold on, Tim. I'll add you to my list as well here because there's a few people that always seem to have problems with that. And oh, my wife is ticked off at my kid. That's awesome. Oh no! It turns out she's ticked off at the dishwasher. Old dishwasher. There we go. So that's in. And I've got that copied in the meantime. So Tim's hopping in. I'm sure we can get to quibbling about something, as I like to say. That's sent, Tim. All right, now I was going to put you on the list. I'll get you put it in chat. Boy, what a long day. Man, I didn't think I was that tired. I'm not too tired, but I mean, it's one of those like, ooh, there, I'm feeling that. Probably because my drugs are kicking in too. I'm diabetic, so type 2. So I have drugs I take, plus I have high blood pressure and blah, 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 blah. So when those kick in, sometimes it's a little, whoo, I'm a little tired now. So. But apparently it's extremely entertaining to hear me get silly, so, you know, it's what it is. So, Daniel, you got a reef? Do you do any reef? I think I've talked to you before. It sounds familiar, Daniel Chan. So I'm waiting on him to get in here. You just started in January. Really enjoying it? Yeah. What size tank? Yeah, that's the one thing where I'm not fully vetted, I guess, for lack of a better term. They mess with my cut versus what I'd actually have. Yeah, did you see my video on To Catch a Tang, Daniel? You ever wanted a warning about tangs? You got the Red Sea 250. That's the 250 liter, right? I think, isn't it?
Wow, did I make it finally?
Yeah, you finally got in. It's crazy, man. YouTube's been messing with me hard. And apparently, there's a rumor going around that they're doing that to weed out certain streams, not to get rid of them, but to make sure that people that really want to see them
Yeah.
because they'll put the effort in. And other ones, you know, well, obviously your stream wasn't all that important because people just didn't care to really try. And I think it's more YouTube just not playing friendly with itself. So you want to put a powder? Yeah. I'm just going to answer Daniel's question here. I just got to check something. A Red Sea 250 liters, 2 gallons. You want to put a powder brown tang into a 66-gallon tank? Do I have that right? Red Sea Reefer 250. So that's a 54-gallon system. And technically, I guess that would be 66 when you count the sump. I'm not going to be a complete dink and burst your bubble on that front, but I will tell you this, is that is too small, technically, for a powder. Well, I suppose if he's the only tang that you put in there, how do you feel about that, Tim? I'm two minds. Powder brown, a gold rim gets pretty big.
Yeah, that it's be okay. I mean,
Yeah, it would be. He'd be
If you're
if he.
planning on moving to a bigger tank, in a year or so, but he's going to get
Yeah,
bigger. He's going to
he's going to get
outgrow
really
that.
big. He's going to get about 8 inches, 9 inches. So if you
Yeah.
think about the size of your tank, you're going to really restrict that guy.
Yep.
And that's, you know, here's the thing. I love tangs. Okay,
Yeah, I do
tangs
too.
just don't like me.
Yeah.
I only seem to have luck with hippo tangs. Um,
Me too.
I had a powder brown. If you watch my video, you can watch him be a complete douche nugget in my tank.
Yeah.
He went in perfectly fine and happy. Um, the problem being is I think my tank was like a smorgasbord for him of algae and space, and he just went on a claim run. So anyone else who was doing what he was doing, which included my starry blinny, the other hippo tang, the other tang, not hippo tang, in the tank, and the fox face, he just went bog nuts for. Like just constantly harassing, especially the fox face. I mean, I've never seen a fox face try to kill another fish like my guy did. Like he
Mm.
was just out to kill him. So you got to remember that. Imagine that attitude on this tang in your little tank. You'll end up unhappy because you'll have a fish that's probably going stupid, trying to claim everything on you. Right.
Yeah.
So you got to think about that. Fish mentality is a really different thing to really. It's weird to try to think like a fish.
Yeah, I'm not having. I've had a powder blue. I've had a powder brown. I've had yellows. I'm not having another one. They just all just buttholes. They just. I mean,
Yeah.
they just. I had the worst I ever had was the powder blue. He just, you couldn't put anything in the tank after he had been in there a while. God, he would just be all over it. It's just.
Yeah. Just
Uh,
they're very territorial fish.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're just. I'm not. I've had a blue tank for a long time, and he's just. I mean, other than the initial curiosity about any fish you put in there, he's fine. He's probably 5, 6, 7 years old now, but
Yeah.
I don't get any trouble out of him at all. He's
Yeah.
like.
Well, you know what's amazing? There's a guy here locally. He's got a 90-gallon, standard size 90, and he's got a hippo tank in there, and he's 12 and a half inches long.
Oh my God.
He's massive, and he's super happy.
Yeah.
Like he's big, fat. He just lumbers around. He's not out, And I looked at Ian and I went, the problem. And he goes, what? If he ever takes off and hits the other side of the tank, he's going to kill himself. Right? He went, you think? And I so wish I hadn't have said that to him, right? Because I loved him. Beautiful big fish.
Yeah.
And about 3A Cruz, you want to pop in? I'll try you a link here, buddy. Tell me if it works for you. That's the caveat, right? You can do it if you're willing to catch him and give him to someone else when he gets too big.
Yeah.
Or you're willing to upgrade your tank.
Yeah.
Right. So that would be what I'd say to that. I would not say no. I'm not going to be that. I'm not the tank police. They can go suck it. Right. I've got a hippo tank on my 120, and you need a 6-foot tank. And I would argue it's more about the swimming space than the distance, because to a tang, 2 feet is a tenth of a second. So
the thing about it, is those you go to the LFS or wherever, and you look at the powder browns, the powder blues. It's like they're just gorgeous fish. They just look gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's like, man, every time I see another powder blue or brown or whatever, I was like, man, I'd like to have that. But I'm not dealing with it anymore. I'm just not. I like a nice peaceful tank. And I'm not putting up with fighting. I got a little purple blenny in there now that's just being a butthole too, and he's not going into the new tank. I've got everything in the 40.
Yeah.
And he's in there. And for some reason he wants to get my wrasses. I got 2 wrasses. He just pesters them. That little bitty purple.
Yeah, it's like my 120. My thug is the orchid dotty back. I can't get another wrasse in the tank because of him. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I can catch him. If I put that trap I show in the video to catch a tang in there, and I drop the foot, he's right in. Like, put the meat in there, boom, he's in. Boom, you're caught. Done. Easy job. Get rid of him. Yeah. And everyone's like, well, what are you going to do with them? Try to sell them? Yeah, try is the optimum word here. But now I have this opportunity with the 5 gallon challenge I was given, or well, I guess it's not really the 5 gallon challenge. Me and Nick from Aquarium Cabinet Solutions are going to try doing a nano challenge, I guess, but not how to put it. We're both going to build the smallest tanks we can possibly do and make them reef tanks. So, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm sitting there going, have I bit off more than I can chew? Am I going to get my ass handed to me by a Brit? And I'm thinking, I'm Canadian. That ain't happening. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Canadian, you know, I've been trying to get online to chat for a couple of weeks now, and I asked you a couple of weeks ago if you'd ever talked to Reef Dudes, Devin, and then I heard you talking to him today. I think it was today or yesterday.
Today was the first day that we really kind of connected. Right?
Yeah, yeah, because you didn't know him then, and I was just telling you he was a nice guy, and
he's an excellent guy.
He's a great guy.
He's BC. He's going to be what they call, like us, laid back Canadians live on the coast. High strung Canadians live in Ontario. So yeah, we make fun of them incessantly, right? You know.
Yeah, he does some great videos. He just seems like an all around great guy. You know, it's just I really enjoy listening to his YouTube videos. You know. So.
No, exactly right. So. And I should add, I guess Cruz is going to donate some Miracle Mud to me. That's the other thing. It must have a base of Miracle Mud. So it's going to have a base of Miracle Mud with a layer of sand or crushed rock, whatever the case may be. And then however else we do it. And it's funny, I was trying to get a hold of a tank today, used one. You know what I mean? Like keep it on the cheap. We're doing this on a budget too, so to speak, right? Yeah. And we did. Yeah, can I help you, sir? Anybody hear my cat sneeze?
Yeah, I heard it.
Yeah, you all right, bud? Yeah. Sniffing the catnip again, were you? All right. That's my big guy. That's my my youngest one. He's like 20 pounds, almost 20 pounds. And he's polydactyl, so he's got 7 toes on each front foot and 6 on each back foot. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's crazy looking cat. Just odd, and he's so recalcitrant. You go to pet him, it's like, no, you're not allowed to pet me. No. And then it's like, no, I want you to pet me. And it's not even like that. It's like, I'm going to lay on your feet because I know they're cold. And I'm diabetic, so that works out for me, right? But if I move, he gets all like ticked off and stuff. It's like, it's hilarious. But you going to pop in, Cruz? Are you trying to pop in? I think do I get your email? I do not. I did not write it down that night. So I got to get yours again. If you want to pop it into chat in here in the Hangout, I'll grab it again.
Yeah, you were talking about the Miracle Mud. I've kind of been on a fence about that. It seems to be like a couple of years ago you heard about Miracle Mud, and it seems like lately it's come back into the vogue or something, you know. And every time I think I got myself convinced, you know, I'm going to give this a try. Then I go, man, I just don't know if I want to put that in my sump.
It is. It feels really weird. Reef Girl, though, if you watch her videos, that's something that threw me over the edge. Yeah. Hey, yeah, Mad Dog.
Yeah, I did, and I've watched. I think Dave Nano, and same thing, and it's just like I think no, I'm not going to do that.
That's another one of those cost prohibitive items.
Yeah,
when you look at the cost of it, it's really expensive, right? No, Dan, I do not have a clam. I would not subject a clam to my tank. I know there's a set of Maximas that are on the way to my LFS, and it will probably take me keeping my wife away from said LFS because I would feel like crap if it went into my tank. My tank is just coming back into balance. I had some issues happen. Couldn't tell you exactly what happened. I just know I had what I thought was red turf algae, which turned out to be a really aggressive red coralline algae. So what happened is it pestered my coral, and then the minute it could get purchase on their skeleton, in it went and just took them out. So I lost a bunch of stuff that way, and I said, you know what? I pulled everybody out. They're all in my 20. If you catch me during the day, I stream a lot. I have reasons for streaming a lot. I won't go into it, but it works out really well. I've made some great friends and even more, and I look forward to like kind of keeping on with this. And I'm going to be doing a regular stream on Saturdays now. So it's going to be Wednesday is Reef Dudes, Reef Dudes, which is Dev. Thursdays is O doing his tech talk. Friday's going to be RCW and Aaron's, right? And Mike's having trouble because his job, new route
that's
he's
what I
doing,
heard.
really kicking his ass. Yeah. So, I fully expect them to, it would be nice to see them change their time. So he thinks that it's too late. And it's like, well, if it's too late for you on a physical, mental level, then yes. You know what I mean? Don't do it, Mike, right? I understand that being so tired. Do you really want to get in here and yak with us idiots? Right? But I'll be doing Saturdays, and I'm going to be taking it more from a planning, setup, implementation front. Because that's where I'm seem to have my niche. That and pests. Because, man, the arguments I get into people over ick and other stuff,
that's a sore spot with me. And there's a lot of misinformation about ick.
Oh, there's tons. You only need to understand one thing about ick, and that's its life cycle.
Yeah.
And you can sit down and figure it out. And I think what really floored a few people is when I sat there and said, okay, so you quarantine your fish? And they're like, yes. Do you quarantine your coral and quarantine your inverts? Right. And they're like, no. And it's like, well, guess how it got in your tank?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've done that. That's happened to me. That's exactly how I got it wrong.
Yeah.
And I just hate it. I watching a tank full of fish with ick is just,
it's heart-wrenching, man. I did 9 months of fallow. 9 months, and it's because I goofed twice. So when in the end, then I did it right. Now, would I say that my 120 is ick-free? Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Would I say that my 20-gallon right now is ick-free? Couldn't tell you. Yeah. I played a little fast and loose with it, but my LFS guy quarantines my fish.
Yeah, that's good.
So it helps out. But guess what? He still does take that fish and put it in the main display that he has, right? So there's always a risk, right? But I'm like, it's a calculated risk on my part. If I got it, it's my own damn fault. I'll throw them into a 20-gallon. I'll fix it, right? And thankfully, the fish that I have in there are fairly tough, so should be okay, right? Except for the wrasse. That Lubbock's wrasse, I am not going to lose that wrasse. I will give it CPR or fish CPR if I have to, because my wife will. Well, you know what's funny with that wrasse is that's the fourth one in 3 years. We had a jumper. We had one that guy in Moncton dropped and screwed up its swim bladder on me. The third one, that orchid dottyback whooped it to death in 24 hours. Bit every fin off, right to the bone, right in. So he didn't make it. I tried to catch him when he was healthy enough that I could have probably saved him. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't know what that was, but all right. So we have my wife and we eat very late. We're on a night schedule, so supper time's now.
So, like, what time is it where you're at now?
1 o'clock, just about 10 to 1.
10 to... I'm in El Paso, remember? So I'm only 9:48 p.m.
Yeah, you're back on Central.
It's Mountain time. Mountain time.
That's it, Mountain. Yeah.
So, I'm actually in Texas, but if you look on a map, you look at El Paso, we're underneath New Mexico. So, I have the same type of climate here as you would find in New Mexico.
No thanks. Too many snakes, too many scorpions, and it's far too hot.
No, but I got here, 30. I retired Army, and I spent my last 5 years on active duty here, and then we just stayed here. It's like I'm originally from Indiana, but there's something once you have to get used to the desert, and then. But now, now it's like there's no way I could go. When you mentioned some of those cold temperatures you had up there, I'm like, holy cow.
Oh, yeah, that's not – you know what it was today? I'll freak you out. Today was 54 Fahrenheit. So it was 54 degrees here today.
54.
Now, tonight it is let's see. Give me a sec here. What's the weather? So tonight it dropped down to 32.
Ooh, okay. Well, that's better than you had a couple weeks ago, though.
Oh, that was nuts.
I know.
We get those polar winds, and it's just like, it's 1 a.m. By the way, Daniel. I am on the Atlantic coast of Canada, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm right next to Maine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's about 70. It's probably in the high 60s right now. We got up to about 80 today. So.
Do you want me to make you? You want me to make you sick? We have to have the
Go ahead.
window open. We have to have the window open this time. Like somebody said, "What?" I said, "Oh, Canadians are nuts, man." I said, "We have the air conditioning on in our cars when it's like 15, right?" And somebody's like,
Uh,
15? Well, I guess that would be 60 degrees.
yeah.
We gotta have the air conditioning on. It's too damn hot. So I tell everybody, spontaneous human combustion, no,
Yeah.
it's real. It's just Canadians that went too far south, right? Because I had a friend of mine. He went down to Florida. It was 72 degrees. They were walking around in t-shirts and shorts and sweating to death. And everyone down there was wearing sweaters and jackets and looking at
Yeah.
them like they're crazy. And it's like, you don't understand where we're from. You die, you know.
I guess, we just as humans, we just you you can like I say, I could never live where you did, but if
Yeah.
you could,
Where are
you
you at,
just get
Dre? And keep going, Tim.
no, it's just you just get used to where you're at. You just act. I'm using reef tank terminology. I was going to
It's
say
true though. You're going
acclimate.
to say acclimate, right? And
Yeah,
it is that. Yeah.
exactly. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, but you
Like
do, and your body gets used. It took me a while. I went through the same thing when I got here. I'm from Indiana, and my wife is from Korea. We 4 different changes of season. We got here, and the first time we get into a winter month where it got down to 55 degrees, these people were running around with coats on. I'm going,
yeah,
whoa, what
you're
what is this? But
exactly.
now, guess what I do? I've been here for 30 years, and at 55 degrees, I get a jacket on.
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly. Because your
I'm
body's
like they
not
are.
acclimated. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you do the same thing.
So these two guys are roughly my weather, right? So Dre's in Buffalo, New York. That is exactly Canadian weather. You're in Southern Ontario, as far as I'm concerned. You're on the other side of the Niagara Falls, and then East Coast, Boston. So Boston. Uh, you're in the yard with a car eating chowder, uh, right? It's yeah, Boston. I'm from. I was born here, but I lived most of my time in Halifax. As being an army brat, I lived everywhere. So I've lived in Germany, Toronto, I've lived everywhere. But the most time I spent was in Halifax, and Halifax has a deep connection to Boston.
Oh, okay.
And I bet you, Daniel, do you know what the connection to Halifax, Nova Scotia is for Boston? I bet you he doesn't. Excuse me. My wife's funny. Are you streaming again? Maybe.
You stream a lot. I know that. Like
Ah, there
it's
you
like
go. So now here's the fun part, Daniel. Do you know why Nova Scotia, Halifax sends you a Christmas tree every year in Boston? I bet the rest of you guys didn't even know this happened. My wife
no.
was even like, I knew that, but I don't know why I knew that. Yeah. He may know. He may know. A lot of Bostonians know that and why we do it. Look at that. I still talk like, yes. You did. Do you know what you helped them with? And it's okay if you don't. That you know that much makes you okay in my book. Because Mark Wahlberg and Danny Wahlberg can suck it. Yeah. They're from Boston. Don't even know why Halifax sends a Christmas tree. Wahlberg's Burgers, my ass. Slap that frickin' Marky Mark in the face. Yeah. It's just an interesting piece of trivia and something to shoot the crap about that doesn't involve. I've talked reef tanks all day, man. Literally, we were at Tang in a Glass at some point.
Yeah, I missed that. What was Tang in the Glass about?
Oh my God, Mike got on about. Um, I don't know where it came from. I think it was Blankety Blank Blank is a game show in Britain back in the 80s.
Uh,
So blankety blank, blankety blank, blankety blank, blankety blank, and he just sort of it hit in his head to go tang in the glass, right? And he did this whole thing, and it was awesome. And it just got to the point where this went on for like hours, and then I had a short stream before O's, and I actually had Miss Haley F in my stream,
oh,
like not just in chat, she was in doing it, and I had her laughing about dip the toe, right? She's like, Yeah, it's like, you've never seen the American Dad episode with the hot tub? And she goes, no. And I said, oh, there's a CeeLo Green's the singing voice of this hot tub, right? And he's like, it's all right, dip the toe. Like there's this whole thing he does, right? And it's
Okay.
hilarious. Yeah. No one's got to know, right? Like, yeah. So Daniel, you haven't answered, so I'm going to say right quick. I believe the year was 1912, and Halifax had a major explosion. So uh, during World War One, wow, I'm going to lose my mind here. What do they call it? The ship with all the men on it. Oh wow. So there was 1917. Thank you. That's it. 1917, not 1912. Similar number looking thing. Been a long time since I went to Citadel Hills there and watched that whole thing. But a troop ship, there we go, and a munition ship collided in the harbor, and they caught on fire. And the munition ship was full of munitions, like completely jammed to the rafters full.
Oh man.
And it exploded, and it leveled 80% of Halifax and Dartmouth.
Oh
Right?
my God.
Reports from people who survived, like right down at kind of ground zero, said they could see the bottom of the harbor when the explosion went off. And the
Holy
bottom of that
cow.
harbor is like 295 feet, something like that. It's really deep. And the anchor from one of the ships wound up in Stewiacke, which is like a 40-minute drive from the city.
What in the world? Oh my God.
Oh, it was massive, man. If you go look up the Halifax explosion on YouTube, I guarantee you find stuff on it. It was a major thing. And it happened in November. I want to say it happened towards winter. And they needed to rebuild housing. And Boston sent massive amounts of something called hydrostone. And there's still a whole section in the north end of the city that we call the hydrostone. That's all these houses that were built out of that.
Wow.
And helped with that housing crisis, right? So in appreciation, Halifax every year since has sent a Christmas tree.
Okay.
And when I say a Christmas tree, we're talking about like 50 to 100 foot, depends on the year. It's a massive, massive pine tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, where they're cut from, you get caught on there with anything other than a camera, and you're probably going to get charged. Oh yeah, like they'll put you in jail for it, because it's literally, that's what it's for. Every Christmas, yeah, the Halifax tree is, it's amazing, and it was a good thing that happened, right? Like, people don't remember a time when that was really a natural or man-made disaster like that was catastrophic to a city, right? And on top of that, Halifax being a major troop deployment area for World War One, they needed to get back on their feet as fast as possible, and thanks to Boston, they kind of did.
Interesting.
Yeah. Weird. There you go. UFI, useless information, right there, right? Now you know.
The older I get, the more I get into history. No, it's interesting.
I always have fun. Mike Aaron there from Aaron's Aquarium. He always is amazed at the amount of crap that I come up with in tidbits, right? And I'm sitting there going, well, I can't help myself, man. I'm well read. I read a lot of stuff, right? And that's why when somebody will quote something, it's like, you read that on Wikipedia, didn't you? No, you're quoting Wikipedia, which was written by Daniel Chan, and not even an expert in that category, and that's now fact to you. Yeah, just ribbing you, buddy. It's really funny because I have a brother who is, I don't know, for lack of a better word, an artard. You know what I mean? Like, it's just he'll spout stuff, and he's religious, but he thinks he's God. There you go, David Koresh syndrome. Much. And it's really funny because I looked at him and he said something. I went, "Where'd you read that?" "Oh, online." "Okay, from who?" And he's like, "Oh, well, it was online." I went, "Okay, but you need to tell me from who, because that dictates whether or not it's bullshit." Well, it's online, right?
It's on the internet. It's got to be true, right?
And that's what I said. I just quoted my wife's line. It was on the internet. Must be true, huh? Oh, it's just. So that's why I tell people with this hobby, you got to take what you read and see with a grain of salt, and think for yourself. And that's the hard part, is that you get these people that jump into the hobby. Well, you're a new hobbyist, Dan. Is this your first saltwater tank, I should ask? Look at this. I get to pick on, there's three of us, and there's me and you and him. And I'm just like zoned right in on him. Newbie. Yeah. So your fear level is probably fairly high, right? Not fear, but trepidation. You're a little nervous about what you're doing. You think you got a good rein on things. That helps, by the way. So this stream I'm going to do on Saturdays is for that person, right? And and I was laughing at myself. I'm going, am I really qualified for this? And I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm a big mouth. I can handle this shit. Right? I deal with so much crap in the run of a day. Like, I'm the first person, I'll tell you, I'm a hypocrite too. Don't put your hands in the tank. Where are my hands in the damn tank? You know what I mean?
I do the same thing.
Yeah, don't put too many corals in all at once. Look at my 20; it's loaded with corals, right? And my tank's newer than yours, Dan. That 20, it's a 20-gallon. I sumped it, I cracked it, I did all kinds of crap that you shouldn't do. But I'm the first one to tell you, you can get away with it, but your mileage may vary. Yeah.
I'm the guy that's always telling everybody, well, when they ask me about this hobby, I say, you got to have a lot of patience. I have the least patience of anybody I know. I don't know what I'm doing in this hobby sometimes, because I don't have any patience, and you really do need it, But no, I'm always
You ever find though that your patience for the right thing is there though? You may the little things that are kind of like you should do this, but you can get away with it, are the things you have no patience for. But the things that you're going to have patience for, no, I'm okay. I'll let that ride. I know that's bad, right?
Yeah.
Luck? No, it's not luck. I'll tell you, fish are going to die. It's, I'm not going to say they're going to die on you right away. And no, you didn't have to retract that. Luck? Oh, that's all right. There's a ton of luck in this hobby. Trust me. Because I know, I know for a fact. I read a woman's thread. She's over in the UK, and she had this new setup, and she comes from a smaller hang on the back setup. And she had a guy at the local fish store set it up because he said he was a marine biologist. Okay, well, for one, a marine biologist does not qualify you on a reef tank.
No.
It will make you, I guess, think about things more, but not necessarily the right things. So every fish he was putting into this tank was dying. Every one. And we said, well, did you test your parameters? And she wasn't answering this question. So I finally had to say, look, I'm not trying to be impolite here, but not answering that question leads us to believe that you have a huge ammonia problem.
Yeah.
Because your fish are going in and dying that quick. The only thing I can think of that would kill fish that quick is either you took them out and threw them on the floor, or there's ammonia in the tank.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with that at all, right? But a marine biologist, we just had a run-in with one the other night on DevStream. Yeah, and he was his problem wasn't that he was wrong or anything like that. He just had the worst bedside manner. Like, his public speaking skills and how he was dealing with it was just crap. And I tell him that right to his face. Like, dude, I've played in bands for 30 years. I know how to speak to a crowd. You know what you did? You might as well got up and said, I am the reincarnation of Jesus Christ, and I'm taking the tactics of Hitler. Like, it just ruined him right where he was, right? Talking over people, being rude. You got to have some tact, right? So, I would say to someone like you, Daniel, that if you're worried about your fish dying, if you've cycled your tank and your fish are currently swimming around and they're happy, you're fine. You know what I mean? How many fish do you have in this 55-gallon tank? That's a good question, by the way. I'm proud of myself for that question. Yeah. Viking comment. What? Jeff, now I'm just confused. Right.
I'm not looking at the chat. I don't know what he's saying.
I got to look at it. I'm going to wear a Viking helmet and bite into a lemon tomorrow. if I can find one, because I just realized I didn't go buy one. Oops. I better go find a lemon tomorrow, huh?
And Mike's gonna get mad at you if you don't get the
He's going to be
Viking
vicious. I went and got the Viking helmet, and then I'll, you know what I'll do? I'll draw a lemon and eat the paper. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can get a lemon. I'm pretty sure. I bet you on the vines. No, they might not be open tomorrow. Someone will be open. I'll get a lemon. Ah, crap. Now I feel like an idiot. That's what I get for going to O's stream. Oh, Jeff, now look. Say what you want about a Viking, man. That's fine. Actually, my family's all Russian, Slavic, and Scots. So, we're used to either invading or being invaded anyway. So, yeah. You want to offend me, man? Don't talk to me. That's how you offend me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still getting the plumbing done on this.
That SCA 100, yeah.
Yeah.
You had a clown jump. That's a rarity. Clowns generally don't.
No.
I will tell you this though: if you added 5 baby clowns, you probably are going to see some fish die.
Yeah.
But that being said, it could work out, especially if you can give them. Are you going to put anemones in this tank? Oh, Daniel's just breaking all the rules. I like this guy. I got two. He got 2 baby hippo tanks, half an inch long each. Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm not going to play the Tang police. I am going to tell you that if you say that around Tang police, they're going to rip you a new ass. And it's only because Tangs do require swimming room, right? So if you think about the size of your tank, the simple fact of the matter is that's what they require is room. So 4 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet is what my 120 is, and that's the bare minimum to keep the Tang police off my ass. Okay. I know you have.
Those hippos grow pretty fast too.
They do, yeah. They'll do a sprout. So what's going to happen with those 2 little half-inch hippos? You give that a year, and they're both going to be 4, 5 inches long each.
Yeah.
And they're going to start fighting with each other for turf. Right? Now that may be what happens. You may get lucky, and they're both fine and happy. Problem is that you've given a fish to yourself, 2 of them, that literally within 2 years can only turn in the tank. That's how big they're going to get. Fun. Now, if you're willing to give them away or give them up, so you're seeing a little flashing, Jeff, and no major signs of Vic. Cross your fingers, buddy. Keep an eye on it. Keep them happy and healthy. I'd stick with the support method. Yeah. Oh, you're going to find out lots of it. You're going to make more mistakes, Daniel, than you can shake a stick at. Okay?
Oh, yeah. No matter how long you've been in this hobby, you're still going to make mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, you're going to have to give both away if you don't get a bigger tank. You just can't, bud. You're just putting a fish under duress, right? And I'll tell you one thing about a hippo tank. There's a reason they call them Mick magnets. Okay? So you're probably not quarantining. You're probably, and listen, I don't quarantine. I have quarantine systems if I want to. Yes, really. I'm not trying to bullshit you. Anyone will tell you that hippo tank and a 55-gallon tank was minimum distance is 4 feet. Okay, left to right. Yeah. Right? That's the minimum for one. Okay, you can put different species of tang in there with them, but you even got to watch that because once you get to about 2 or 3, it becomes a 6-foot, 8-foot tank that's required.
Yeah.
It's a Red Sea Reefer 250. Yeah, 3 feet. You got a 36-inch tank. So, yeah, you're even at 90 with that big blue hippo tank my buddy's got in there. There are tank police, and this is a joking term. there are ones that will, and they'll be up in arms and they're going to come and lynch you and take your fish away. And, they flip right out. They really do. Don't go into a forum and ever tell us what you're talking about, because you're going to have a bad time, right?
Yeah.
You won't even want to read the thread. Just turn off the notifications. What you really need to get for that tank is get those hippos sold off to someone, or see if the LFS will let you trade them in. Do you want to keep coral? That would be the big question. And me, Jeff, and Tim are all multiple year experience. In fact, I think, Jeff, you got the most experience, don't you? You're walking on to how many years now? Is it Jeff? I know Dave, Angelic Ways, is like 21 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've only been.
So's Rico. That does it.
I
That's
think
a number.
I got my first tank, I think, in 2009, 2010. So.
Yeah, see, Jeff's 20 years. So, Jeff, if you want to hop in, I'll send you a link. Are your lights still on right now? Mine are long off. Mine turn off at like 11:20.
Even mine are on the moonlights now. It's after 10 here, so
I want to get moonlights, because then I could at least walk up and say, "See, can you see them?" Right?
Yeah. Well, I say moonlight. It's actually the Radion.
I'm going to send you a link, Jeff. The Radion moonlights are on, yeah.
Yeah, it does. I'm going to have to get one more Radion for the. I had that cube, and the one Radion, took care of that because it was 30 by 30. So we'll have to come up with another Radion for the tank, which isn't going to make my wife happy. But
I am dying to try an AI Prime.
I had AIs before. What was those? The AI Sols I had.
The Sols were great. I know people that swear by them even now.
They were good.
They were a little blue, though. They were a little too blue.
Yeah.
That's all, right? Yeah. And there was a replacement puck, I think, for the middle one that you could replace it, and it would give you more of the whites. Yeah. But some people said it just ruined the kind of condition of the light, like what it looked like in the tank. They said it didn't do what was promised, right? Yeah. Which is give that kind of blue I get in that 20, because I have the whites all the way down and the blues all the way up. It was almost too much white. It almost gave you the yellowing effect. Yeah. So I never saw it personally, so I couldn't really speak to that, but that's what I heard.
Maybe I just didn't mind. I like the blue. I like the blue.
Everyone loves the blue. Come on, who doesn't? It's the best time to look at your tank. But listen, Daniel, when Jeff gets in here, I'm going to spotlight him, and you're going to see his NASO tank. And his NASO tank gets to the same size as a hippo. In fact, a hippo gets bigger. Right? Hippo tanks are outside of what unicorn tanks and soul halls are pretty much the biggest tank in the hobby. Well, I suppose an Achilles gets pretty big, doesn't it?
Achilles. Yeah. NASOs can get pretty big too.
And
I forgot about the NASOs. We were talking earlier about tanks. Now,
yep.
I've had NASO tanks, and they were usually pretty peaceful fish. But they're going to get big. That's why I'd like to have one of those too. But they get big too fast. Now maybe I'm not, I was going to say maybe I'll put one in the 100, but no. I end up giving it away after.
Sorry, coughing. Everybody's here. I want a blonde NASO, and I am so. I had a chance at one, and my wife. I don't know who's a bigger tank police, the tank police or my wife. But the one she really wanted was the powder brown, and who turned out to be a complete and utter. I did, Jeff. I emailed you, sir. 30 seconds from now, he'll get that.
Yeah, NASOs are nice fish. The
oh, dear God. I'm not going to yell at you, Daniel. You have 2 hippos or 3 hippos, a NASO, and 5 clowns in a 55-gallon tank. Okay, sir. This is intervention time. If you want the honest-to-God truth, I'm not going to yell at you. I'm going to tell you the failure is coming. So you got 2 hippos, a NASO.
Yeah, that's a little bit too much.
That's too much. Yeah, that's too much. I know you got a problem now. Yeah, it's intervention time. So I'm going to put Jeff's tank up here. I'm going to show you the size of this fish. Okay. Now that's a
Holy
Naso
cow.
tang. That's a good size. Okay.
Yeah.
Look at the size of this fish. That tank is what, 6 feet long?
It's got to be at least 6 feet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Red Sea Reefer 750, right? Yeah. And there you go. Yeah, tiny now. Attitude doesn't change. It only gets meaner. Okay, so what you're going to see is the attitude of the fish when they start to get territorial. Okay, you can actually tell he's the tank boss, isn't he, Jeff? Look at the size of that fish, Daniel.
Yeah, without a doubt, and he's constantly swimming back and forth. They need at least that amount of swimming space.
Yeah. Every Naso I've ever seen, that's the size. That's what they do, and it's just great to look at them like that in a big tank, So, but if you're going to confine that to a small tank, first of all, you're asking for trouble in multiple different ways. But beyond, and besides the fact that you're just not giving the fish the room that it needs to do what it does.
Well, look at that full-grown yellow tang versus the size of that Naso.
God,
that's a big Naso. What's he, about 12 inches, Jeff?
Yeah, I'd say at least 8 inches.
Yeah, he's about 8 inches. Nice and fat and happy, too.
Beautiful fish. Beautiful.
It is, yeah. That's a blonde Naso, too, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see the yellow. Yeah, that's a nice fish.
That's my favorite fish.
It was the first fish I ever brought home in a 5-gallon bucket rather than a bag. So.
Yeah.
Well, how big was it when you first got it?
I've only had it for a month and a half.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's definitely. It looks like he's the tank boss too now.
I can imagine that. I can imagine me coming home one day with a fish in a bucket. My wife's, "What do you got?" It's the new fish.
It's my shark.
Holy cow!
Look at the size of him. He's just massive. He's a beautiful fish. I love him.
It is.
Wife's like, "Why don't you put one in our tank? Because we got a hippo in there now." So
and this tank's only just a little over 2 months old.
Yeah.
So.
And that's a Red Sea? Is that a red? Did you say that's a Red Sea tank?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Red Sea confuses me. They put these like 250s, 450s, 750s, and I always
that's the leaders.
Yeah.
And that's including it's the leaders, including the sump.
Okay.
Yeah. So like Daniel's got a Red Sea 250, so he's got a 54 to 55-ish gallon tank. And his sump is the rest of so about 16 gallons.
Okay.
So looking at this, Daniel, this is what I'm trying to explain to you, that your fish, those 3 guys, are going to get this big. Right? So you have to think about what you're doing, is that it's not if, it's when all this goes horribly wrong for you. Right? And horribly wrong for those fish. Though my feeling on it is that you're in charge of the care of this fish, because if not for you, aka the hobby, he'd be swimming around the ocean right now just trying not to get eaten by sharks.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So you have to look after him because you took him in and he's now yours. So that's the only thing I would say to you on it. The clowns, not a bad idea, especially if you're willing to put a few anemones in there. You can break up the aggression by giving them a place to be. Okay, it's not a guarantee they're not going to get at each other, but it'll help. And you may not know that. I lost people in my stream here, and we didn't even go that long. They'll be back. The trick to it is to diffuse aggression. You can't diffuse the aggression that's going to come with the tanks. The tanks are just going to want elbow room, right? And you have a tank that's not big enough to give it to them. So maybe from that decision for you, is that you can kind of look at it and go, okay, sell them off, give them up, put them somewhere so that, they've got a better chance. And you can stock your tank with pretty fish as well. You were removed? Oh, just log back in. Yeah, it'll let you back in.
I got kicked out for a minute there, too.
Remember, I told you, I don't think YouTube likes me.
Well, this is how many weeks I've been trying to get on a chat with you. This is the first time I should have done the email thing before, But,
yeah, exactly. So, Daniel, my other thing is I would rather see you have great success. Right? I'd rather see you come to us in a year and say, man, my 250 is doing great, and my Cali Tort, coral's doing awesome, and my fish are doing great. You know what I mean? Like, oh, no. That's the whole point of what I do. Right? It literally is everything. If you can say to me, like, yeah, man, thanks, and you do, and even if you don't do anything about it, I'm not going to know.
Did he get those fish at an LFS?
Yeah. Did your local fish store sell these to you knowing, by the way? That's a good question. Or did you just go and ask to buy it and didn't say anything? They never asked about the size of the tank and you never said anything? They do know what's... Oh. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's bad.
Look, I'll say what my LFS guy said. It's not up to him to be the fish police. He doesn't frisk you and ask you for your identity card for your tank size and everything, okay? I'm not going to fault them for that. But if they know they're selling you a fish that's going to get... Well, I can tell you a hippo tank can reach 18 inches long. That's half the size of the width of your tank. I absolutely know that for a fact. I have seen an 18-inch hippo tank. Yeah. So your only thing you've got to think of now is, while they're in your care, looking after them, which I'm sure you are, it's what you're going to do with them in 6 months to a year when you move on, right? Because right now, you, by the way, cannot add any more fish. You got 3 huge bioload fish in there with 5 clowns. Okay? I don't know if you've ever watched your tangs take a poop yet. It's massive. Okay.
Yeah, that hippo tang will poop. I'm surprised also that they sold him 5 clowns. I don't...
He's maxed his bioload. I'd almost guarantee it. And that's if it's...
You should be able to buy what you want, but the guy at the store should tell you, look, it's probably,
not in your best interest.
Exactly. But, I don't understand that, because if you're an LFS and you want repeat customers, you should give out good information and people come back to you. It's like, I don't get that. Why do you want to set people up for failure? So I don't know.
Well, even 5 clownfish in one tank.
Yeah, that's wrong.
The aggression alone.
That's wrong.
It's plenty big for 5 clowns.
Oh, absolutely. But you got to set it up for it.
Yeah, it'll work for a while. But...
It'll work. Yeah. Hey, look, that link stayed there. I can help out and get Angelic in here if he would like to. Probably going to cut it off here in a little bit. Yeah, they poop and poop and poop. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, it's amazing how often I clean out my filter socks and how filthy they are with these tangs. They are crapping machines.
And add a fox face or a magnificent fox face to that. The guy capable of crapping out a log the size of your baby finger. Yeah.
I had a fox face, but he just couldn't. You put a new Zoa in there, and I don't know, man.
He was a muncher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had a colony in there, he didn't seem to bother that. But you put new Zoas in there, and you turn your back and come back and go, where the heck did that frag go? I mean, it's just, and I just finally, and that didn't make my wife happy either, because she.
No, I bet not. I had a blue tang prior to the Spock I have. I had a Spock before, and he ate $450 worth of Zoas in a night.
Oh my God!
He ate. What did I have? Utter Chaos, L.A. Lakers, scrambled eggs, True Clementines, and there was something else, and he ate them all. Right? I was just heartbroken. It was like, how can you do that to me, you bastard? Right?
And he's like, so what's the problem?
They were tasty, Put some more nori sheets in, you knob. Like, and that's what I did. I noried them up and removed the zoes. And my wife looked at me, and it was an instant. We laughed at each other the minute that he jumped out, and I couldn't recover him. Which broke my heart. I got pictures of that. And he hit the floor maybe 30 minutes after I'd been at the tank, and it was my cat leaping at the tank and scaring the fox face, and then everybody jets, and he must have been up near the top, and out he went. And my tank's 5 foot 11 inches up. So when he went out the top, he was probably a good 6-7 feet in the air. And when he hit the floor, hardwood floor, unfortunately, that's what killed him. That was the actual fall.
Yeah.
Because he was still wet when I picked him up, and it was just like, oh, I'm going to put you in the net and try, right? Because, not a mark on you. The cats didn't bite him, nothing. And unfortunately, he didn't come back around. Now, my filamentous wrasse had jumped, spent an hour and a half out of the tank. I put her back in the net. She started breathing. I held her in my hand in front of a power head for about 20 minutes, and she swam off.
Wow.
So I always tell everybody, don't throw the fish out unless it's dry as a bone and you can beat somebody with it. The eyes are sunk in. It's over.
They look like a French fry. Yeah.
Well, what you got to think about is it may be beautiful, but if it dies in front of you, like your fear, that's the caveat for you. That's exactly where your fear should be, is that he's not thinking about you enjoying the hobby. He's thinking about the profit to be had. So you're willing to spend $100 on these fish or whatever, the case may be, and he doesn't give a crap about you being successful. He just figures it's going to die, and because of your weakness, you're going to come back and buy another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I'm going to tell you flat out, sell 1 tang, sell 2 tang, then sell 3 tangs, and set your tank up in a completely different direction if that's what you're going to stick with. If you want to keep one of the tanks, then you minimum have to go up to at least 100 gallons. Minimum. Right? Just to give it the swimming room so that 1 tank can swim around. And then, believe it or not, you can put a lot more other fish around him in there. You could probably, I've got what? Got to think about it for a sec. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got about what? 12 fish in my 120. And the big guy is my fox face right now. My hippo tang's going to get big. Everyone else is a fairly small fish. Okay? And the more fish you have, the more you would actually enjoy it than you would if you had one big blue powder. I'll tell you, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be catastrophic when it happens. In fact, if you got a lid, I'm guessing you don't because you had a jumper. Tangs will jump when they're trying to escape. I personally have had it happen. And in that size tank, it's probably possible to have 2 or 3 jump at once because they got nowhere to go. They're gone. And have you seen them dart yet?
Oof.
You're talking about a really quick fish. Well, they're all quick.
Yeah, the blue, that's funny you mention that because you get used to I have that blue tang. He kind of lumbers around most of the time in the tank. But then when he gets scared, Jesus, it's zoom. And he's under a rock or inside, cover really fast. I'm always amazed at how fast he can swim,
Yeah,
when he
tangs.
really wants to.
You know what? Let me see if I have. I got so many pictures. I wonder, do I have a picture of Spock in the net? Because that was a particularly heart-wrenching moment for me as a reefer. It was one of the few fish that I took it really bad when he jumped.
Wow.
It's going to be one of those days, is it?
Hey, I'm going to jump off, Craig.
Okay, Jeff. And that's all right. I'll probably stream a little bit tomorrow at some point, where I don't have to go anywhere, and it's it's a holiday and that. I may Friday fun time or Easter fun time or something, and put up something for everybody to just kind of jump in and shoot the breeze and tang in a glass.
Yeah, I'm off work tomorrow. I took tomorrow off, and
Yeah.
so I'm gonna be doing some more plumbing work on the tank. So I'll be around. So.
Yeah, and thanks for jumping in to show off your big captain there. You should call him the major. Yeah. On Saturday, it will be 4 p.m. my time. I think so. Hold on. Jeez, I better check. Greg does not know when he's doing anything.
So that's going to be like 1 o'clock nighttime.
Yeah, it's probably going to be fairly early for you. The ZR1 on the dyno. I'll have to watch that later. My next stream.
Milas does a live stream on Saturday. Now I don't know if you watch him or not.
Which one?
Milas, Mark
Levinson. Yeah,
he does one.
He's earlier than me. I know that because I kind of looked at his time and went, okay, I don't want to go quite that early.
I don't know if you watch Steve Rodder. He has.
I know Steve. I've spoken to Steve.
Well, you guys probably have a lot in common. He's a musician and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't. He's. Everybody says, well, "Why do you like him?" I said, I don't know. It's just there's certain things I like about a lot of people. I mean, I don't know. I find the guy
went the wrong one.
I just find him kind of funny sometimes. And this. Did you see the episode that really got me cracked up was when he put in his miracle buds?
Oh yeah, my God, he's one of those people that everyone tells him exactly how to do something, and he just goes his own way. So the stream starts at 3 o'clock your time, Daniel. So for you, it's 4 o'clock my time. So I'm an hour ahead of Boston. So going by that, it's 1:30 in the morning here. It's what time there? 10:30?
In El Paso, it's 10:30.
10:30 in El Paso. So that's what? 1, 2, 3. 3 hours back. So it's going to start at 1 o'clock your time.
Yeah.
But,
Saturday, I'll be working on Saturday. I don't know if I'm normally on Saturday wouldn't be a problem, but this Saturday I'm working. I'm off tomorrow.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So,
I'd love to have as many as I can get in. I'm going to do basically an empty tank and show the equipment you should have to start minimum, which is, this, and then explain about doing a drilled tank or drilling a tank. I have everything not to do it. I am not drilling this 29-gallon tank. It's sump worthy only. It looks like crap. But, and, RODI units and the reason you should have a mixing bucket, why that's cost effective versus going to the LFS and giving them your money for your salt water, that kind of thing. Plus, it's also about consistency, right? Yeah. But I will tell you this, Daniel, I'm not harping on you. I'm not picking on you, okay? I really am not. I really wish you all success. The big thing here is that just from what you've told two guys with experience, and I guarantee Saltwater Jeff feels the same way, and I bet you Angelic feels the same way. You're setting yourself up for failure. You're going to have a crash at some point. Go ahead, Dave. I know you're itching to jump in. So
I'm just going to try to play catch up real quick. I know he has a Red Sea Reefer 250. What fish does he have in there?
You sure you want to know?
Yeah. No judgment. No judgment. Because I can't see the chat. I'm on my phone here.
I think he said he had 5 clowns, 2 blue tangs. I don't remember. Craig, you remember what else he said he had?
Does he have a powder brown in there?
I don't know. Actually, we've been talking for a while. We were talking about powder browns, but I don't remember if he said he had a powder brown. I know he had 2 blue tangs, 5 clowns. I don't remember what else he said he had.
He's got a Naso, 2 baby hippos.
Oh, yeah. All right. Naso. We're going to stop right there because them Nasos get big.
Yeah, that's what we were telling him.
Yeah, we had Saltwater Jeff. Jeff just came in and showed him his, and his is a good 8-9 inch long tang.
And that's still a little smaller one there.
Yeah. Well, and I was telling him hippos can get up to 18 inches long.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, right. So he knows that part. We the chastising has been done for that.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What I look at, and I caught the part where you was talking about how many fish you have in your 120.
Yep.
See, in my 120, I've got 6 fish, but what I look at is the bio load.
The load. Yep. So
I've got the fox face, the tang, the clown in there. And I'm looking at all that, and the fox face and tangs are in the same category as just
prolific.
they're either swimming and pooping or they're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
We were talking about that before. They poop a lot. Man.
Yeah, like when we say they poop, and I'm sure you're already experiencing. I'll tell you what will happen, Dan. Okay, and these guys will back me up. What's going to happen is the bio load is going to exceed. Do you know what bio load is? That's a better question. Let's take this from a beginner's point of view. Do you understand what we mean by bio load?
I'm going to have to fire up the laptop so I can see the chat.
Yeah. Because I do not mind. Actually, I just found out what's going to happen to that 5-gallon when I'm done. My wife just looked at me and said, I'm taking that to work. Yeah. Nitrates, not necessarily. Okay. So bio load is your rock and whatever biomedia. So I have like marine pure balls in my sump. I've got a whole bunch of stuff for surface area for the bacteria to take care of ammonia, nitrites, and then hopefully some nitrates. So your bio load with those fish is massive. Okay, so if you have, I'm just going to throw a number out, okay? Let's say you have 50 pounds of rock and you have 10 marine pure balls in your sump, okay? And those balls are about 5 pounds worth of rock each. You have enough to handle probably 1, maybe 2 of those tangs and a couple of those clowns. You have 2 more clowns. You had 3, and you also have 2 more tangs. So it wouldn't matter. You could change 50% of water every week, and you're still going to get to a point where it's going to crash. Okay, what's going to happen is the bacteria that's doing the job for you is going to die. All right, and it's just going to lead to a massive die-off. That's a tank crash. That's what that literally means. Is usually you've exceeded it, and the bad bacteria takes over. Okay, so for you, it's not if, it's when. It's coming, right? It could be 6 months, 7 months down the road, and all of a sudden, and it'll happen overnight. It will happen so quick. A thing you'll hear us say all the time, whether it's reefing community worldwide. I'm not going to mention that stream, or Aaron's Aquarium or any of the big ones. Okay, and if you go look up Aaron's Aquarium, we're not going to say a number, but he's got I'm going to say a number. He's got 27,000 subscribers. The only other one who's bigger than him, I think, on the reef tank front is Coralfish 12G. I think is the other big one. And I'll tell you, any one of those guys would tell you the same thing. And it's not that they got more experience. It's just that they've been through it enough and had enough experience, people around them. They would say the same thing. What you're dealing with, you're playing with fire, right? It's just tank's only been up since January.
Sorry. Since when?
January.
And how soon did he add those fish?
I'm going to guess we'll say all of them have been added within this amount of time. So we're talking it's March.
Oh no, that bio.
Months. Yeah, he succeeded.
Yeah, his bio load can't keep up.
No.
So it's going to crash.
Yeah, so you're doing a 5-gallon water change every week. By the math, you are taking out, give or take, we'll call it 10%. And you cycle, it wouldn't matter. You didn't have a load in the tank. Right? Cycling the tank preps it to start taking a load. You're supposed to literally, if you follow the numbers, okay, maybe 2 clownfish, give it a few weeks, some more fish. Like when we say fish, I mean a fish. Okay? That's the standard method. I added 2 clownfish immediately when I started the tank. Okay? If I could show you my 20, I would. And those guys will tell you I went through hell. But I went through hell because of something else entirely. But the fish themselves, nobody in that tank looks like they're suffering.
Okay. I'm sorry. I just got into chat. I just want to speak on this, and people might disagree with me. I don't want to insult anybody, please. So I don't want to offend anybody, but I hate when people say I cycled my tank for a certain amount of time. The time doesn't mean anything. You got to test the parameters constantly until it stables. Then you start adding very slowly things to the tank and give it your bio load time to adjust.
Yeah, that's what we were just saying. You're just a different method there, Dave. But here's the thing, Dave,
right.
and you may not have seen what he was writing. His LFS guy has been feeding him. Okay, he's figured out that he'll buy these fish because they're pretty, they're beautiful fish, no doubt. And he's figured this out, and he knows the size of his tank and knows how long his tank's been up and running, and he's just selling it to him. That's the part that I'm not mad at Daniel. I'm mad at that fish store guy, right? And and I know you're not mad at him either. His understanding, this guy should be doing what we're doing. He should be schooling him, and not in a rude way. Like, dude, no, you can't do that. I had a guy who did it almost in a backhanded comment way, and I took it okay. Like, I get it. You think you're better than me. That's fine. A marine biologist, this guy fails. I would look at this guy. You are a fucking idiot. Not you, Daniel. That guy. I would lose my shit on that guy. How dare you? Right? I know you're not the fish police, but really, you're condemning these fish to death.
What I would do moving forward, Daniel, is kind of a learning experience. The next time you see a fish in your LFS, if you continue to go there, which is your business, I'm not telling you not to. You see a fish you like, go home and research. Talk to people that's had to fish or has one.
Oh,
see what they're like.
Yeah. No, I got one here, guys. The one we all use. Have you ever been to liveaquaria.com, Daniel?
Yeah, I use that as a rough guide.
Yeah. As a rough guide. Have you ever been to liveaquaria.com?
Yeah, they have a lot of good information on Live Aquaria. So.
I think we can just stop right now, and he can do this for himself. This is how I learned, right? And I'm sitting there going, oh, I know what he can do. He can go look this up himself. Yes. So if you go look up a blue Pacific tang or a hippo tang, did you ever read what it says the care requirements are? They're recommended. I'm doing that in quotations, by the way. Okay, so if you go look up a blue hippo tang, and I'll hang out for this. I'm very curious as to your reaction to this, or your NASO, your choice. Okay, look that fish up on Live Aquaria right now. Scroll below the picture, and look for the care requirements. Their recommendations for tank size and temperament and everything. Okay, and just have a look, and come back and tell me what you took away from that. Okay, I'm super curious at this. Because I have seen two ways this has gone. And no, neither way is wrong. It's more, that's the word I'm looking for here. It gives me an inference, no, wrong word. An insight into what you're thinking. Because I really feel like we're picking on you. I'm feeling actually a little bad about it. I think it's just because we've just turned into the tang police without realizing we did.
Well, the whole thing is you just want other people like Daniel that are getting.
There you go, Daniel.
You want
yeah, I think he knows the site, but yeah, thanks for posting that.
You're just trying to help them be successful. You want them to be successful, and
I want them to come back in 6 months and say, "Man, tank's looking great. I just got my first acro."
Exactly. Yeah. And it comes across, I guess, as being critical, but it's like. Yeah, you're trying to get you to avoid some mistakes that we made and stuff. So.
Exactly. Oh yeah, come on, guys, come on.
Yeah, knows I've made.
Who wants an Achilles tang that's here and doesn't have a tang for it right now? Hands up, my hands up. I want one. Right? Can I get one? No, I mean I could. I got a big enough tank to pull it off. But is that fish really going to be happy? It's maybe
for a while. Until he gets big.
So,
the whole thing. Now, if he's
what size tank? And this is what I'm curious of. When you look at that, what size tank does it say that hippo tang requires?
A 180.
Right. No, I wanted him to answer, but that's okay.
Oh, sorry.
No,
pick a different fish then.
Yeah.
Pick a different fish.
Yeah. Do a NASO. Do the NASO and tell me what size it says. And then I've got a secondary question that only you can answer. Okay, so very curious. I almost want to get him in the chat, but I feel like it'd be too overwhelming. I don't want to do that to him. I've had this happen. I've had guys literally, and me and Dave have had many discussions about this stuff. Trust me, actually, about LFS guys who do this stuff. Okay, so if you were to think about what that says, okay, what did the guy at the LFS tell you when you bought the fish, or did he tell you anything? That's what I want to know. Because I shit you not, I would almost call this guy. Yeah, I almost would if I knew he wouldn't hang up.
What's it say
Daniel?
for the NASO? What's it say for the tank requirements?
What was your answer for the NASO?
Yeah.
No, that's wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to say 125 plus. That's got to be what it says for... Give me a sec here.
NASOs are usually around 200, 180 to 220 is what you want to keep them in.
I could argue, but to a degree, there's a difference.
Right.
I would never tell you you can put one. You can put one in a 55-gallon tank. Let's not mince words here. Can you do it? Sure. How long is it going to last? Not very. Tanks. There we go.
I mean, you need at least a 6 foot.
No, you don't need a 6 foot.
Yeah.
But
you
should. But you should have at least a 120, and then it depends on how many fish. Right? And Blonde Naso. Let's go with him. They're going to be the same. Blonde Naso is 180 gallons, right? They get 1 foot, 6 inches long on average. So that's 18 inches. That's the same size as a hippo. Okay, so. Oh, my God. This guy's a marine biologist, and he really piped that. Okay, that's an old wives' tale. Fish don't care what size tank they're in.
Who said that?
Oh, okay.
Well, okay. That's just like I've seen people buy Sweet Lips, okay? And I've heard stores tell them, oh, they don't get big at all. I'll bet you bottom dollar. Them babies get huge.
Yeah, they do. I'll tell you another one they lie about a lot is the porcupine puffers. Okay, so Daniel, I bought a porcupine puffer. He was the size of my hand, like palm of my hand. So give or take, he's about 4 inches long. That fish, when I bought him, I knew he'd get big. I was thinking a foot. I actually read online in captivity and then read many and saw pictures. They get 18 to 20 inches long in captivity. Ooh. So he's capable of pooping like my fish. Okay, because he's a predator. So all he eats is other fish. So he creates a bio load that's the equivalent of what every fish in my 120 is right now. So when he poops, it's massive, okay? And unfortunately, I sold Smoots to a buddy, and he had a power outage for 5 days, and he lost him. And he was heartbroken because he knew I sold him to him because he could look after him. I love this fish. This fish was like a dog, dude. I could walk up, and he'd follow me around the tank. All he wanted was food, but the thing was he would eat from my hand, and he would nuzzle my fingers to get me to go get him more food. And the cutest thing you've ever seen is a porcupine puffer. In fact, I think that is, without a doubt, the cutest fish in the ocean. Yeah. Sweet Lips is close. Yeah. So this guy...
Fish don't care what size the tank is.
Yeah, he's full of shit. You did freshwater, right, Daniel? And we'll wait, because unfortunately he's 30 seconds behind. We got to remember that, right? But I got a freshwater question that hopefully he's experienced it. I did, just because my kid had one. So let's see if he's. Have you ever kept Plectosomus? Just your standard old pleco.
Man, you're going way. I haven't done freshwater in years.
Yeah. So I'm about to drop science, y'all. That's what I'm about to drop. So.
Oh, wait a minute. We do have a freshwater tank. The boy has a 5-gallon beta tank.
Oh, there you go. Well, that beta's not going to outgrow that tank.
I
He's
told him,
probably
if you
the-
kill that thing, if you kill that, you're done. 'Cause
Yeah, you shouldn't even be doing the hobby. Yeah.
you can't even kill them with a sledgehammer.
Excuse me, guys. Caught off guard there. So, Daniel,
Oh.
how big have you seen a pleco get? Like personally, have you ever seen a large pleco? Yeah.
If it's what I'm thinking about, they can get pretty large, I think.
Okay, so a pleco that all these fish stores sell will say to you, so PetSmart, PetGo, any of the major chains, okay? They will tell you that a pleco will grow only to the size of the tank. Right, they get really big. So even if you have a 10-gallon, which is what, 16 inches, I think? 16 or 18? Maybe it's 18. I've seen one the size of a 10-gallon, okay, like literally front to back, and he was still alive in this tank. And exactly, right? But they'll tell you it only grows to the size of its tank. It's a wives' tale. It's not true at all, okay? And with saltwater fish, I will unequivocally tell you that's not true. And it's unfortunate that this is the guy that unfortunately got his, we call claws into you. And I got an education and sniffing, no, man, it's only in the wild they do that. Whatever he said, you can take anything he says now and probably throw it out the window.
Okay. See, what my LFS does is when they sell a fish, is if they don't know you, they'll ask you what size of tank you have. And then they'll say, well, this fish grows up to this size. We'll sell it to you, but just kind of giving you a fair warning that within 6 months or a year, you might be wanting to upgrade or bring the fish back because it's going to
or sell it to someone else. Exactly. That's honest. That's fine.
That's what they should be doing. That's
it's not up to them to not sell it to you. It is up to them to at least give you the information that's necessary, not anecdotal evidence at best. This hobby is full of enough of that. Okay, you're going to read
but then
stuff.
Again,
go ahead.
As we've talked before, there also comes that fine line where with us buying a fish or whatever, we should do the research and ask the questions of what it,
right. Yeah.
There's that fine line there.
There is, and I think what I'm going to do is tell you, Daniel, you've done nothing wrong.
No.
Per se. Okay,
No,
you haven't.
no.
You are not totally at fault here. There's a little, okay? But this guy definitely should not have said anything like that. He led you into a situation that you're now in. Is it a bad situation? Is it overnight? No, you're okay. But you do need to start considering probably ditching at least 2 of those tanks. And when I say ditching them, find someone who wants to buy them or see if the LFS will take them back. Don't bother talking to this guy. Trust me, the responses you're going to get are probably somewhere between bullshit and rage. Okay? And maybe get yourself... there's got to be more than that fish store in the Boston area. There's got to be.
Oh, that's right. He's from Boston. Yeah,
he's in Boston. Yeah, there's got to be... go in, talk to the guys, man, and do your research on a fish and see if what they say to you about said fish sort of matches up to what you've read. Right? And that'll help you. That'll help you learn and create trust. Okay? Because I'm going to guess, is there an end game to get to coral here? And I'm done harping on him about this, guys. I think we'll just leave it at that, and let's enjoy the hobby. I wish I could show him my tank and see, here's my tank. It's cool, right? Yeah, you can do this too. That's where I want to be. I don't want to be the tank police thing. There are enough guys on Reef to Reef for that horse shit, right?
Well, I was just going to say, Daniel, I think you have a really nice setup. I enjoyed watching your videos, watching you start to progress.
Yeah, he's right on it. But is the end game coral? I got to ask. Hear the Jeopardy theme? Yeah.
Hey, yeah, I still have the gambler playing in my head. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's not get into the whole other thing there.
I'm Kenny Rogers. Yeah, I wish my voice wasn't all shot. I've been talking all day. Yeah. So no, but thanks. Definitely. Okay. Sorry. Is the definitely meaning that you're planning on coral?
Yeah, I think that's what he's.
I think that's what he meant. Okay. So I'll tell you what my theory would be on this marine biologist. Okay. Let's say you walk into the LFS there, and they have a Jason Fox home wrecker. Okay. This is an Acropora coral that costs for a small frag about $400, give or take somewhere between $300 and $400. Okay, your tank, any one of us here would probably say is not ready for that without the proper lighting and about what, a year and a half for that tank to stabilize.
Yeah, for acros,
Yeah, give
Yeah.
it something in that time frame. There's indicators, and you'll learn that as you go. But can you imagine this guy sells you this coral and you watch it strip away and die? There goes your money floating off into the tank. And there's nothing you can do to fix that. You couldn't even give it to someone else who has an established tank and bring that coral back. Okay? Like, I mean, the chances are like 1 in 1,000 that it's going to work. So that's where these streams come in handy, okay? Like me and Paul and Michael and all these guys, Aaron's Aquarium, Reef Community Worldwide, Reefing with O, I'm going to say Rico's Reef Tank, any of them will give you good information like that, and will kind of steer you in that right direction, okay? Like I make videos. If you watch mine, they're there. And I always tell you, you can do what I do. This is how I did it. You know, and just because somebody says, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily make that information right. What they're telling you is that's their opinion. Okay, we'll say that from time to time, depending on the topic we get into. The only one you'll watch me really dig my teeth into is this, okay, which is, you know, you've overstocked your tank, or ick. I have a big thorn in my side about ick because I dealt with it for 9 months, right? So what I did and what I went through, I tried every other method versus what finally worked. And the only other one besides fallowing the tank, taking your fish all out of the tank and treating them while the tank runs fallow for 3 months, is the tank transfer method. But guess what? The tank transfer method is still only to get the ick off the fish. You still have to fallow that tank for 9 months. Or sorry, 3 months. I did 9 months because I'm an idiot. But yeah, man, so jump in the streams, man, when you're feeling more confident. Jump into the Hangouts if need be, if you want to. Hang out with us, and trust me, there'll be a lot of silly conversations too, by the way. I will warn you, we're a bunch of idiots. Because, you know, we really are. You know,
it's hard telling what we'll be talking about. We were supposed to be.
I don't even know what I'm going to do.
You know, and no, don't even worry about a whim. Educate yourself on the fish. Like when you're looking through Live Aquaria, me and my wife for the first year had a wish list and went down what was required, and then I would read up or watch videos and figure out what the care requirement was for that fish. Like I have 2 clowns, I have a Royal Grama, an Orchid Dottyback, Hippo Tang, Fox Face One Spot, rabbitfish, 2 orange striped cardinals, a blue-green chromis, a starry blenny, a yellow watchman goby with a pistol shrimp, and he's a big pistol shrimp, by the way, hurts when he hits me, a skunk cleaner shrimp, a blood cleaner shrimp, a lost track of the snails. I'm probably sitting on about 20 trochus now, but I got lucky. Mine gave birth in my first tank. So what else do I got in that tank? Oh, a mandarin dragonette. And no, Daniel, no. Okay. Mandarin dragonette, no. Okay. Wait till your tank is mature and ask. There are many things that will tell you if you can get one. Your tank is a good size for one, but it's not ready. Trust me on this, okay? You're just going to watch that thing die. And I've got a scooter dragonette. Okay. Actually, I got more than 12 fish, don't I?
Sounded like it.
Yeah, I think I got
I
14.
I quit counting.
Yeah, I probably got 16. I think it's 16. I have to count it again. But most of those fish, and these guys will back me up on it, are low bioload fish. Okay?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, my
Well,
hippo
maybe
tang and the fox face, the clowns a little bit, but everyone else is kind of low yield, they call it. But
maybe the LFS we got those at. If we talked to him, maybe they let him like take one of the blue hippos back and trade for
yeah,
something.
talk to them.
And,
Yeah, and don't even.
yeah.
I'm telling you from a salesman's point of view, Daniel. Say, look, I realize my tank's way too small for these fish. Is there any chance I can bring back these two? You know, keep the one you really want to keep. If it's a blonde naso tank, I would say keep the blonde naso tank because that's my favorite fish. But whoever's smaller is the one you're going to be able to keep longer. So that's if you want to make a decision. The clown's not necessarily such a problem, but I will tell you this: keeping anemones without a good light, not a good idea. You know, just because they're like a coral, but they're a living. I guess they're the most living coral. Is that the way to say that, guys?
Yeah, and if
Yeah.
you want to do an anemone, you want to at least let your tank mature for at least 6 months minimum.
Yeah, get to about the 6 month mark before you do it. So even with the clowns, keep an eye on them. Okay, they may work out, but the problem is it's going to be a territory thing at some point, or you'll get really lucky and these two are over here and these two are over here. But I
If you
will
get a
tell you
pair,
this. Yeah, go ahead.
If you get a pair of those that made up, then the ball game changes. Then
Yeah, what'll happen actually is the bigger male will actually kill the other two, or the
there'll be
female
some
will kill them off for being weak.
there'll be some clowns jumping. Then they'll be chasing.
Oh, they'll be chasing, yeah, or
Yeah.
grabbing by gills.
Yeah,
Hell, I've
yeah.
had mine grab my male grab my female by the gill, scared the wife, made her cry and everything. She never seen that before, and I'm like, well, we'll keep an eye on it. You know.
Yeah, clowns can be some mean little fish if they want.
Well, you got to remember what are clownfish, if not a subspecies of damsels.
Damsels. Yeah, you're right.
And damsels, there's a reason "dam" is in the name. I shit you not.
They're assholes.
Yeah, they're assholes. It's that simple. Daniel, you got any questions that are outside of that? We'll just leave the rest of it alone.
All I was going to say, Daniel, yeah, I'm going to drop it after this. Don't feel bad for what you did because I promise you, I guarantee you that anybody that's owned a fish tank has been through what you're going through right now.
Yeah.
With the bad advice and not knowing.
Just bad advice.
Absolutely.
That's it. Oh, and preying on your love of fish.
Exactly.
So we don't know which way this guy went, whether he's a moron or just greedy. So we'll just leave it at that. And there's a way out of it for you where everybody's happy. You'll be a little unhappy, but you know what? Someday you'll go up, and I'm going to watch that video about thinking about tank placement and whether it can do it. I'll have a look at that for you, and maybe on Saturday I'll get a chance to answer that question for you. Yeah, and someone will say, "No, Craig, you're wrong," and I'll say, "No, you're a bell end," and I'll say, "No, you're a bell end."
Well, you always have that person out there that's going to tell you you're wrong.
Always. You don't use a hang on the back filter? Sure you can.
You can run a tank without a skimmer. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you can.
Yep, you sure can.
You can.
It's been proven, I mean, many times, and people still argue, say, no, you have to have one. No, you don't.
No, you don't. Now, does it help if you don't have a skimmer to run an air stone occasionally? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
He said, why? I said, because it helps oxygenate the tank. You have no other source of oxygen coming into that tank. Yeah, forced. Should I say that?
Right.
That's all right. The skimmer on my 20 kicked out. I got to have a look at that and figure out what the hell happened to that thing. I was moving a filter sock, and all of a sudden it just wasn't working. I cleaned it out, and it's still, I don't know what's going on. I think it's blocked, but I'll have to look. Yeah.
Maybe something in the impeller or something.
Oh, I checked that. That looked okay, but I think when I put it back together, I don't know. We'll find out. I'll figure it out. Or I'll be bitching my ass off, one of the two. That's all right. Give me an excuse to buy a Curve A5. Anyway.
Come on. I want to see another video of water spraying on you.
Oh, come on. I still can't believe I did that.
We've all done it.
Yeah, Daniel, look forward to seeing you, man. I'll probably be on tomorrow, too. If you subscribe, man, you should get a notification. If I'm up, feel free to drop in. Yeah. What a good guy. I was having a quick look. His tank looks great. He just... Bad info.
That's too bad.
Yeah, that's the one I did, too. Anytime, Daniel. Anytime, man. Don't. And normally we're not very jump down your throaty either. Usually, I think even Jeff was thinking he wanted to like, oh no, you can't do that. Yeah, it's a hot.
Well, as my wife would call it, constructive criticism.
Yeah. Well, it's when I realized it wasn't just his compulsion to buy fish. Somebody preyed on that.
Yeah.
To me, that's the same as a guy who really can't afford that Porsche, but he ended up buying a Porsche. Right? Now, mind you, it's your own fault for being at the dealership. He didn't come to your house and browbeat you into buying a Porsche, but you know, it's yeah, I hate that kind of sales tactic. That just bothers the shit out of me. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, especially, I mean, yeah, we're responsible for, you know, doing our own research, but, you know, a new person, not in the hobby very long at all. I mean, you know, the store owner's got to, you know, recognize that and, you know, ask a few questions and be willing to put out the information.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I'm not shutting it down quite yet. I mean, I don't know. I want my wife to love me tomorrow, but I did buy her a new Coral, so that gave me a lot of leadway. So,
but I was just brought up in this hobby to make sure I take it upon myself to find out all the important information. Don't rely on somebody else to give it to me.
Yeah. No, you should. But I still make stupid mistakes even now after.
yeah, I still do too. Yeah.
And the girl that runs the LFS, she's a marine biologist, but we was talking about that one day, and she said, well, because I joked with her and said, well, you're a marine biologist. You ought to know all about this stuff. She said, no, it's kind of a general category you're throwing me in there. Marine biologists, a lot of them have specialized studies.
They sure do.
So they can't just, like, for example, open a fish store and say, okay, well, I know everything about this. Well, no.
No. And that's just it right there. That, in a nutshell, if you realize, like, there's someone, Dan's working with a couple of women in Okinawa, Japan, that all they're doing is taxonomy on zoas. That's all they're doing, right? They're marine biologists. They can tell you what a shark is and which one you should probably stay away from, which is, in my general category, all of them.
Me too.
But you know what I mean? But at the same token, you know, and that's just being silly, but it really comes down to they're going to specialize because that's what all scientists do anyway. I mean, Stephen Hawking isn't going to sit there and talk to you about marine biology. I'm sure he could.
He's not going to talk to anybody anymore. But...
Yeah, well, that's your thing. Stop it. He was my freaky voiced hero. You know, like... But no, it's one of those things like somebody said about physics. Well, there's particle physics, there's theoretical physics, I can break it down, you know, there's all kinds of that shit. And yeah, you know, Jeff, you're lucky. You actually have one of the good ones. I'm lucky. I have a great guy too. And even then I disagree with him on points, but disagreeing with somebody doesn't make them or you wrong.
You know, the sad reality is, and I've noticed this going into different LFSs here. I mean, I know all of them. They know me, so they don't play any games with me. But I've seen people walk in there that were new people, and they get treated different and given different advice. Some that they knows something about this stuff. It's really sad.
Yeah. They kind of sucker them because they need to sell.
Right.
That's the problem. Once you're in a position where you have to sell, you know, like Norm said, he went from you know, the reason I get a lot of leadway with him and I thank him so much is I help pump his business, right? Because one, that guy in Moncton is just a royal jackoff. You know, I can't believe how he speaks of other companies, speaks of other stores. You know, you shouldn't listen to any other LFS in the area except for me. Like, okay, yeah, I'm done with you, right? You know.
But that's a guy in your area?
Yeah, in Moncton. Yeah, I went to him, and I remember the first time I went to him, something irked me the wrong way. And then he, you know, I refused to sell you a fish. Okay, why? Well, you don't have a 6-foot tank. Yeah, whatever. Go away. I'll go down the road and get a hippo tank. See you later, buddy. You know what I mean? Like, done.
Yeah, well,
right?
There's different ways you can tell somebody the same thing. You know, he was just being a jerk about it.
You're just being a jerk. Yeah,
Yeah.
French Canadian jerk, standard thing. You know what I mean? You think Moncton, he's just a jerk.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah.
I mean, there's the right way and wrong way to tell somebody.
You know, and not only that, you're not even debating it with me. I have a 4-foot tank.
Yeah.
You're telling me that a tenth of a second to a tang makes a difference. You know what I mean? And he's like, well, it's water volume. Well, I hate to tell you, if he's the only tang in there, that's not the issue either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
you go ahead.
What? See, my question would have been, what do you mean by water volume? So if I have a 150-gallon tank and I have a remote 60-gallon tub for a sump and refugium, that's what, 210 water volume?
Yeah, that's volume.
That's volume.
So,
That
you know, I
was
hate
my
that
argument.
term.
Yeah.
What do you mean by, are you talking swimming room in a tank or are you talking total water volume?
Yeah, it's two different things.
And then the other thing that comes into play is your rockscape.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you do the wall, you know, the standard newbie thing, I have 120 pounds of rock in my tank. I would not try to put a hippo tank in there. There'd be no room for the hippo tank. I have, give or take, probably 70 pounds of rock in my 120. So you've seen my 120. You can see there's tons of swimming room for that tank. And he's happy. He's not stressed. He's not circling. He's swimming. He's just doing his thing. If I ever saw his behavior change, I would then have to do something.
And see, all my rock works right in the middle of the tank. I allow room on both sides. And people freak out. They're like, oh, wow, how'd you do that? Why did you do that? Water circulation.
Yep.
Why didn't you put it up against the back glass? What am I going to do that for?
I don't want to look at a rock slide.
No.
You know, and plus, I want to be able to see my fish. You do that, a lot of your fish you'll never see because they'll swim in and around
But
that
then
rock.
again,
Yeah.
Then again, what?
when I go to start a tank, people freak out and they, oh my God, I still get comments for this. Buy a tank, you get it home, you clean it up, right?
Yeah.
I use Windex and wipe it, let it sit for a day, then I start adding stuff in it.
That's fine.
That's okay.
No, people say, oh, you can't do that. I said, what do you need to start a cycle? You need ammonia. What is Windex?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
colored ammonia water.
Now, would I tell you to spray Windex openly in front of your tank? No.
No, not
Right? Because the other chemicals that are in it, right? But
Right.
because there's no chance for it to evaporate, it just went in the tank, right?
Right.
I clean my tank with Windex, and people are like, "Oh," it's like, well, I don't spray it at the tank, you idiot.
Right.
You know, I spray it into the paper and then wipe the front of the tank and then dry it off. You know, like, oh, it just, you know, it's not a Scentsy candle, you ass. You know what I mean? Like, it just gets, you know, it's not a plug-in.
I will admit to doing that on occasion. I've done, but I've always like directed spray down, and you know, you just have. Sometimes I'll spray it on a cloth and then put it, you know, clean the glass.
Right. If you're anal retentive, you go ahead and be anal retentive. You know what I mean? I'm okay with that. It's all right for you to be anal retentive, and they just, you know, for one, don't screw with a sarcastic Canadian. That's just not going to work out for you in the first place. You know what I mean? Because even if I'm losing the argument, I'm going to troll your ass for fun now. Because you're not going to change my mind. I'm obviously not going to change your mind. So now I'm going to screw with you until you go to bed with your arse in such a knot you shit a string tomorrow. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's one of those things where a rectangle is better than a square. Yep, different. Yeah, you know, Jeff, that's just it. What do you have for a tank? I would never try to put a tang into a cube. I've seen it done. I did it. I did it in a 60 with a very small tang, and realized by watching him swim, he was not happy. And he had tons of room, but he only had 2 feet and 2 feet. That's all he had. And I got it. I got it right away when I saw it. And I went, okay, so shit. You know, what do I do? So I upgraded to a 65 long, which was 4 feet. But it was only 18 by 18, I guess. No, I think it was only 14. But it, oh God. Anyway, don't get me started about that tank. That one pissed me off.
Now I've got I had that 93 cube, and I had this blue tank in there. He seemed to do okay.
And I think it depends on the fish.
But it was 93, so you had plenty of heat.
Yeah, well, that's 36 by 36.
Well, 30 by 30 by 30. So,
Oh, 30
and
by 30 by 30.
sometimes I would look at it and I would kind of feel bad. And I just didn't see. That's why I say we all make mistakes and stuff. But so in one, so it, so going to a rectangle tank again, it's kind of, believe me, it was no fun watching this tank explode in my living room.
No, I bet it wasn't.
But getting a rectangle tank again, and I'm kind of excited about it because it gives the tank much more swimming room.
Yep.
But he seemed to do okay in the cube, in the 93-gallon cube.
I'm a little worried too about Tina, because she got those fish, and I mean that mimic tank was upside down.
What is it? A mimic tank?
Yeah, she got.
Oh yeah, the FedEx deal.
Yeah, and that mimic tank was upside down and cold. Now he's actively swimming. The last time I saw her show her quarantine, I'm hoping he pulls through because cold is better than warm. We all know that.
Right.
It's the upside down that worried me because that meant that he was in that phase.
Exactly.
The swim bladder's having an issue now. Like, is he going to, did his life get drastically shortened on her, right? So I have a lot of hope that works out for her because I know she really wanted him.
See, she got him, what, today or yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday. Yesterday. She got a video on it. You can see it in her eyes, and she's a very anxious lady. You can just tell. So, I feel for her. I don't want anything to happen. Like, I'm sitting there just positive vibes. Like, come on, fish, right?
Yeah, usually the first 48 hours is the real crucial part you got to watch.
Yeah, because he hasn't eaten yet as of this morning. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's about normal.
Yeah, so and I'm going to tell her, stop trying to feed him nori. Right, he may not be ready to graze yet. See if he'll take some, juicy mysis kind of deal. Right, see if he'll grab the tasty stuff. Right. But we'll find out. And I'm hoping tomorrow I get up and she jumps in. So Craig, great. That's all I want to hear. You know what I mean? Snails. We were trying to convince her barely need any water.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't. Right.
Yeah, I heard her mention that too, and I was like. I was at an LFS. There's about 3 here in El Paso, 3 or 4, and I got some snails from him, and he was putting it in water. He said, sometimes when I get snails from a distributor, he said that they come without any water, and I go, really? That's the first time.
Yeah.
So when she mentioned that today, I go, well, that'll probably be okay, I think.
What they'll do, they'll touch them, so they suck back into their shell. Yeah. They'll throw them in the bag, and the water and the slime that they have on them is enough to sustain them for up to 48 hours, I read.
Hermit crabs are the same way.
Yeah. They can hold that water in their shell, and that's enough. So, all right. Now I'm going to cut it off, though, because I can hear the wife's anger from the other room. Right? So, I can feel the hate. You know what I mean? So, no.
I'm not mad at you.
No, not you guys. No, I'm really hoping that he takes what we said.
He's going to take a different look at his guy. He will.
Yeah, he will. I hope he does. Because there's got to be more than one reef shop in Boston.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Got it.
But anyway, guys, I'm going to cut it off.
Okay, take care, everybody.
To wash tanks in the wilds from
you too.
Fast cover. There's cold tanks and the ones that don't move much. You got it. I know that, Jeff. That's awesome, though. I actually kind of forgot about the coal tanks being like that. Anyway, have a good night. I'll see you guys in the morning, man. Get some sleep.
All right.
Later.